Whether you love them or you hate them, when it comes to the Sanders family, everyone has an opinion. So today I'm going to be going through the story of how Deion Sanders became primetime, how primetime became Coach Prime, and why everyone seems to be hating on his son, and how that led to his fall in the 2025 NFL draft, where he went from being regarded as the second best, if that, quarterback in the whole draft to dropping to the 144th pick, where it seems like nobody wanted him. So why does it seem like Coach Prime has no respect from the powers that be in the NFL? And how did this all come to be? Let me tell you the story. This is so highly requested. People want me to take them through every little step, okay? Y'all want to know the tea and get it, so I'm going to take you through everything. So without further ado, sit down, grab your popcorn, and let's get into this very controversial up and down story. So the Sanders family, you either find them iconic or polarizing. There is no in between. You either love them or you hate them. Deion Sanders, also known as Prime Time, now known as Coach Prime, built a public brand that is loud, confident, and extremely visible. He brings national attention everywhere he goes, and that started long before his athletic career. When he was in high school, he played basketball, football, and baseball. And he actually earned the name Primetime from his basketball career, where he was dropping 30 plus points and dunking on everybody. And that's how people started calling him Primetime. Now, he ended up getting drafted to the MLB before he ever got drafted to the NFL. But he knew his goal was to build his mama her dream home, and the money was in football. He chose to go to Florida State University, where he was able to pursue both of his passions. He was able to play baseball and football. He was able to stay close to his beloved mother. It seemed like the perfect marriage and situation for him, and so that's what he chose to do. Then he ends up getting drafted 5th overall to the Atlanta Falcons, and that's where he starts, operating at a different level. He's now in the pros. He's super flashy. He's known for his outfits, his chains, and his insane touchdown celebrations. While some people might find him brash and arrogant, if you hear from his teammates from back then, they all have the most amazing things to say about the person that he was. But he always said that he practiced the way that he played. And so when he played, it wasn't nothing. It was easy for him. And that was true in both of his sports. He played 9 seasons in professional baseball and was a true dual sport athlete. Throughout his career, not just professionally, but in college, he had times where he was playing baseball and football in the same day. This led a lot of people to question him, though, because they're like, you can't be giving your all to both sports. And he garnered a lot of haters, while some people were just enjoying the primetime show. Not only was he primetime on his own, like a show to watch just as a player in both sports, but he played for some of the most sought after, viewed franchises in both sports. He played for the New York Yankees and he played for the Dallas Cowboys. So the visibility that he was getting throughout his career was insane. And he's the only athlete to ever play in the World Series and in the Super Bowl. So all that to say, he's really like that when it comes to sports. Now, his children, especially Shedeur and Shilo, the ones that you've probably seen the most, have become stars too, but none of this comes without some controversy. Now, let me give you a little detour and let's talk about his personal life a little bit. The reason we're discussing this is because Deion also had a very famous reality TV show about him and his family, and people absolutely loved the show. And so they have been very expressive when it comes to letting the public in on their personal lives, and that continues to this day. Sanders' first marriage was to Carolyn Chambers, sorry, Carolyn. They had 2 children, Deandra Sanders and Deion Sanders Jr. Then his most famous relationship was with Pilar Bigger Sanders, and his second marriage to Pilar was very, very polarizing. Now, in order to help you understand, let's back it up a little bit. So Deion actually had his struggles with mental health after his first marriage. He's spoken about this openly before, where he said that he felt like the only thing that he had, which was his children, and the only thing that loved him truly in this world of fame and money and all of the things that he was experiencing, were his children, Deandra and Deion. And to lose them, because Carolyn had custody of them, was heartbreaking for him. And there's even a story where he considered, or I think he might have actually driven his car over a cliff and attempted to end his own life. But he's spoken about this openly with his struggles with mental health and wanting to unalive himself and things like that after his first divorce. And then he became saved and went on a whole journey with God that was also quite public, where he was trying to really turn things around. He was hosting Bible studies on Tuesdays and getting mentored by TD Jakes, who ended up baptizing him and officiating his wedding with Pilar. His divorce with Pilar was very, very messy, and you can see a lot of this play out in the reality television show. Pilar has really been labeled as his crazy ex-wife, okay? Based off of watching it, this is such sticky subject matter, but basically she has been accused, allegedly, of joining a cult and trying to change her children's names. Okay, some traumatizing shit. There was the time that she jumped Deion in his bedroom while their children were watching, and Deion was caught fleeing the home and did an interview with Dallas News talking about the situation and saying that he was going to get her arrested, and that he did. Okay? Very dramatic. This involved allegations of infidelity and abuse, which led to a very dramatic custody battle in which Deion was awarded sole custody of their sons and joint custody of their daughter. Now, let's talk about his coaching career. He went from NFL star to high school coach. So after retiring from professional football in 2005, Sanders ventured into coaching by founding and leading Prime Prep Academy in Texas from 2012 to 2013. He continued to build his coaching resume at AAA Academy and as the offensive coordinator at Trinity Christian School, where he coached his sons, Shilo and Shedeur. Then in September 2020, a very polarizing time for Black Americans. This is the height of, this is the COVID pandemic. This is the Black Lives Matter movement. Okay. Some really heavy stuff was going on. And so for someone like Coach Prime to go and coach at Jackson State and HBCU that had less football resources than some of the other bigger schools, like the one he went to, Florida State, the less national attention, for Coach Prime, primetime television, to take himself there was a game changer for Jackson State. And in September 2020, Deion Sanders was appointed head coach at Jackson State University, a historically Black university, and he was competing in the NCAA Division I football championship subdivision. Under his leadership, the team had significant success. In the 2021 season, they secured an 11-2 record and they won their conference, and they were getting more attention than ever. And then in 2022, they achieved a perfect 12-0 regular season, another conference championship, and made a second consecutive appearance in the Celebration Bowl. Now, Deion Sanders made headlines when he flipped five-star recruit Travis Hunter to go from being committed to Florida State, a huge school with huge resources where he knew he was going to be on TV every weekend, to come to Jackson State and do something that's never been done before. Shedeur Sanders DM'd Travis on November 12th of 2020 and said, "Gone ahead and flip." And Travis said, "I just might, big bro." Shedeur said, "I need you to come play with me and do something that hasn't been done before." And Travis said, "On God, I need to get on the map. I'd love to play for you and your father. And bro, you cold as fuck and no one can take that from you." And there it went. Travis Hunter ended up flipping and committing to Jackson State and HBCU, five-star recruit. It's national news. So the team has great success. And in December 2022, Deion Sanders decided to take his talents to Colorado. This was also super controversial because people felt like he was abandoning his HBCU. And he took his son and he took Travis with him. He ended up revitalizing the Colorado program by overhauling their roster. Another step of controversy in Deion's career was when he had his first meeting with the Colorado Buffaloes football team and basically told him, "A lot of y'all are going to lose your jobs, okay? Y'all might as well enter the transfer portal, okay, if you aren't built for what I'm about to bring, because I'm coming." He showed up to a team that got one win. Okay, a 1-11 team when he got there, and turned them into a 4-8 team, okay, showing progress from the previous one-win season. And not only that, they were getting national attention. But then the next season achieved a 9-3 record, tying for first in the Big 12 Conference, and also earned a bowl invitation. They had celebrities that have never been in Colorado for nothing, okay? They had celebrities on the sidelines of their games. They were getting nationally televised games. They were getting attention as if they were a Georgia or an Alabama or one of those SEC historic football schools, but they were just little old Colorado and Primetime Sanders and his sons, and people literally could not stand it. People were calling them ghetto. People were calling Shedeur brash and arrogant for flashing his watch at other players. And they were just doing basically what college football needed, that flash, that entertainment. I became a huge Colorado fan. And Sanders' impact extended beyond the football field. He boosted the university's visibility. He increased the student applications. And in recognition, Colorado extended his contract through 2029 and made him the highest paid coach in the Big 12. Now, it wasn't all puppies and rainbows, as I previously kind of alluded to. When Deion went to Colorado, there were a lot of people who were mad, and I'm going to give you the reasons. Number one was obviously his departure from Jackson State and his HBCU commitment. His decision to leave Jackson State led a lot of people to feel like his departure might undermine the momentum that he helped build for HBCUs in college football. People were basically saying he was selling his people out. And then there were also people saying, well, don't you want him to move up in the ranks and possibly go coach in the NFL? Like, don't you want his son to get a different type of visibility, not just at Jackson State? So some people are saying, yes, it's good they're moving on to other things. And some people are saying, that's bullshit. He should be helping his people. Number two was the massive roster overhaul that he caused at Colorado. Upon joining Colorado, he had over 50 players enter the transfer portal as soon as he got there. He basically replaced the whole goddamn team. And people were mad. While he was aiming to revitalize a very struggling one-win program, people saw it as him throwing away the players that built the program, which built it to what? A one-win team. And saw it as him, causing instability when it came to the players, whatever. People were pissed, okay? And then there was also the perceived nepotism and favoritism because of the prominent roles of his sons, Shedeur and Shilo. People were pissed that the school decided to retire the jerseys of Shedeur and Travis Hunter because they think that Shedeur's impact wasn't that excellent at Colorado and he doesn't deserve to have his jersey retired, which Travis Hunter was getting the ball thrown to him by somebody, okay? They weren't going to retire Travis Hunter's jersey and not Deion, the coach that made this all happen, son's jersey. It just doesn't make sense. Let's be serious. But people hate nepotism, so people hated them in return. And then there was their media presence and self-promotion. The whole Coach Prime persona, the sunglasses, the son with the watch, the celebrities at the game, pissed a lot of people off. People didn't want Colorado, a nobody school, to have these, let's be real, black people flashing their chains and watches at these other kids at these other schools. People just didn't like it. His approach to branding and media engagement was unconventional for a college coach, let's just say, and this led to debates about whether or not what Coach Prime was doing at Colorado was appropriate. In Deion's first meeting at Colorado, he told the players, I'm bringing my own luggage, and it's Louis. That man did not care. And then obviously over 50 players left via the transfer portal. So as Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter entered the 2025 NFL draft, they were the names everybody was talking about because let's be real, they were the most popular people in the whole draft. Colorado football was a phenomenon. Like everybody was watching them. Celebrities were flocking to their games. People were obsessed with them. So as they moved into the NFL, people wanted to see where they would end up. There were even rumors about Deion possibly going to coach in the NFL. And now looking at Shedeur, who was regarded as the second best quarterback in the whole draft, ended up having his whole Coach Prime son image biting him in the ass. You see, Shedeur elected not to participate in the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine, okay? These are critical exposure opportunities for a football player seeking employment in the NFL, okay? He also allegedly had poor interviews with teams because people were saying that he was tanking interviews with teams that he didn't want to draft him. And then on top of that, Deion Sanders was saying in public, there were a few teams that he didn't want his son to go to. Now, I want you guys to recognize that Shedeur Sanders is not the first person to ever do those things. Say that there were teams he didn't want to go to or not participate in the combine. At the end of the day, he felt like his film throughout his season at Colorado, which is really good, by the way, should speak for itself. The scouts felt otherwise. It seems that the sentiment was, you're already Deion Sanders' son. You already had celebrities at your games and stuff without having a natural national championship run. Okay. Everybody's obsessed with you, but you haven't earned that place yet. And so for you to come in and say that you're not playing at the combine or that you're not doing the draft the way we want you to, oh shit, we got to humble you. On top of that, there is the NFL's adverse reaction to NIL. Okay. These kids are millionaires coming into the NFL. They don't need the NFL in a financial way, the way that back when Deion was playing, he just wanted to build his mama her dream house. Okay, well, these NIL kids could possibly do that with the money that they're making in college. And on top of that, Shedeur Sanders was the highest paid athlete in NIL of anybody. Okay, and he wasn't a national champion, and they felt like he had nothing to show for it, even though he had completely turned around and revitalized 2 different programs as the most important player on the field. But that's neither here nor there. Teams were worried about Deion's heavy involvement. He had this whole diva dad narrative, which is crazy considering how many eyes Deion as a player brought to the NFL and as a coach brought to college football. I mean, having a Sanders on your team is a ticket seller. I thought we were in the business of making money and winning games. He's talented and he can sell tickets. I'm not understanding the hesitation here. And on top of that, there were teams that needed quarterbacks. Like really needed quarterbacks. And they had one that could have just fell right into their lap and they decided they didn't want him. I wonder why. He ended up dropping to the 5th round of the NFL draft and got picked by the Cleveland Browns, whose starting quarterback is a rapist. And then they've got Joe Flacco, who is old. Dylan Gabriel, who they chose to draft over Shedeur, even though everyone knows he's not better than Shedeur. And then Shedeur, and now they're saying Shedeur has to earn his spot. Oh my God. Okay, we get it. You're trying to humble him. But in conclusion, the reason why the Sanders family is loved is because they've broken barriers, especially at Jackson State, HBCUs. They are Black history personified. And on top of that, seeing a Black father interact with his Black children the way that Deion Sanders does is so incredible for the Black community, especially an athlete, the way that he talks about religion and God and his mental health and wanting to die and coming back from that and raising his children and loving them and being very active in their lives is a really positive image, I feel like, for the Black community. On top of that, he's flashy and he's entertaining and he's family oriented all at the same time. He's got the chains and he's look good, feel good, play good, but he's also a family guy at the end of the day. And those amazing speeches he gives to his teams. I mean, you put dramatic music in the background of one of those and I will run through a wall. I want to suit up and play football. But the Sanders family is also hated for their perceived arrogance and abandoning an HBCU for money and prestige and prioritizing family over their team sometimes. But whether you love them or you hate them, you're watching. And that's why they make money. My favorite point about this draft situation with Shedeur, I hope that he takes this and he has an incredible football career and that he's bringing the celebs and the attention like he did at Colorado and revitalizing programs like he did at Jackson State. Like, I really want him to have a good football career. But I also think it's interesting that by trying to prove to Shedeur that he ain't shit by letting him drop to the 5th round, which I know is ridiculous. If he had terrible interviews and he missed the combine and y'all are mad about that, that excuses him dropping out of the 1st round, okay? The 5th round, the 144th pick, please. You're trying to humble not only Deion Sanders, but his son. But on top of that, by doing that, in turn, you made the entire draft a spectacle about Shedeur Sanders. Nobody cared about anything else. Nobody was watching anything else. All people were paying attention to was where's Shedeur going to go? What the hell are y'all doing with Shedeur? That's all they were talking about. You took away that moment from every other quarterback in the draft that we know isn't better than Shedeur. Like, please. The 27-year-old that's hurt himself 3 times or whatever the fuck, like, please. Let's be serious. And by doing that, you just proved why people love and hate and watch the Sanders family, why Shedeur is the highest paid NIL athlete. Because no matter what's going on with them, y'all still gonna be talking about them and still watching them. And what really pissed me off, y'all, number one, the fact that while Shedeur was waiting on a phone call to get drafted, and he was probably heartbroken. I know guys don't like to talk about their emotions or whatever. He was probably sick to his stomach that he was getting passed up not once but twice by every single team in the NFL. And he knew that he was more talented than that. And to feel unwanted like that, I couldn't imagine. But then you get a phone call where someone's pretending to be drafting you for the New Orleans Saints and it's just a stupid ass, privileged ass Falcons defensive coordinator's son who's a 21-year-old man, I might add, I'm sorry, who should be ashamed of himself. And I know that this might not be an illegal offense, but I want him arrested just because I'm so pissed. If this story is true that you stole information from your dad's iPad to call Shedeur and ruin his fucking day and take his draft moment not seriously at all and to put salt in his wounds, then something should happen to you. Something should happen to you. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to say what would happen if he were black because people are going to get mad at that. The second thing that I'm really pissed about is the fact that the NFL was posting about Shedeur nonstop, and then they post his draft graphic of him in the Browns jersey and pin it to their page. Y'all got me fucked all the way up. You let that kid drop to the 144th pick to humble him and show him that he ain't shit, and then you pin the post of him getting drafted to your page to use him for attention because you know that's all people care about? Fuck out of here, NFL. That's nasty work. It's just proof. It just further proves this narrative, and white people don't get it, and I get why they don't get it. Like, they're like, what? The NFL's racist. Half of the league is black. I don't have time to explain to those people. My thing is, you wanted Shedeur to fit into a certain box that you didn't expect Baker Mayfield or Johnny Manziel, or you won't expect the Manning kid. You want him to fit into a certain standard that you would never expect a white kid to fall into. If a white kid acted like him, we would be, whoa, yeah, he's so confident. Yeah, y'all would love it. If a white school had all the white celebrities out the way that Colorado did, oh my God, the NFL would be eating it up. They would have been eager to draft him in the top 5. Are you joking? But because of Shedeur and Deion Sanders, it's the same reason why they hated Deion when he was playing. Not too much, black man. Hold up. It's the same NFL that's asking people to cut their hair to be more appealing, that kind of thing. There's a double standard in the NFL, and there always will be, and there always has been. And if we don't call it out and acknowledge it, they're never going to change it. So anyways, that concludes my rant on this here episode about the Sanders family. I am a huge fan of them, and I enjoy watching them, and I just hope that Shedeur continues to climb. Shilo was signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good for him. I hope that their daughter that is playing basketball has a successful career. I hope that his older children are successful. I love black nepotism. I love it. And to see their father be there for them, I mean, we all would love to experience something like that, so why hate on it? I don't know. Maybe I just think differently. Thanks for watching the Hoops for Hotties podcast, or listening if you're a listening hottie. Make sure that you subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast so I know that you're enjoying this so I can keep the episodes coming. Love y'all. Mean it. Bye.